What's going on, guys? Today on Fast Food Face Off, we're in Westwood, New Jersey at Jack Potatoes. I'm gonna try a bunch of different items off of their menu, so let's head on in and crush some calories. Fast Food Face Off! Fast Food Face Off! Alright guys, so I have a bunch of different menu items here, starting with the Jack's Mexican potato, the Jack's Classic potato. I have their West Panini, their Chef Special Panini, their wet burgers, a chili variety, a barbecue sauce variety, and then their original variety that has some proprietary stuff in it. And then for dessert is the banana Nutella panini. There's a lot of food here. I think I'm gonna get started with the potatoes first. This has bacon, chives, corn, mozzarella cheese, sour cream. It looks like a great loaded baked potato. Let's see how it tastes. Really nice. You get the sweetness of the corn, you get that fattiness from the bacon, you get the herbaceousness from the chives, and then you get that really good Idaho potato flavor. It's balanced out really nicely with the cheese and the sour cream to give it a little bit of salt factor to kind of make sure that everything plays well together. It's a really good potato.
Curious about what a jacket potato is? Never heard of a wet burger? Well, stick around to find out.
You know when a baked potato is cooked exceptionally well because the inside still retains a lot of the moisture and the potato actually comes off of the skin, but the skin itself is so well intact that it kind of sits there open for you. I've had baked potatoes that are floppy, the inside is kind of mush. The texture on this is very appealing.
This restaurant specifically uses Idaho variety potatoes because they produce a crisp exterior while maintaining a moist and fluffy interior.
Next up is Jack's Mexican potato. So this thing has Doritos, chives, a ton of cheese, chicken. It looks amazing. Let's see how it stacks up against the other potato. I forgot that there's also pickles and corn in here. I know that it might seem like an odd pairing, pickles and almost like Mexican, but it really does work. The sour kind of balances out the chili flavors in a really appealing way. Plus, you can't ever go wrong with Doritos.
Having the pickles in there is basically like pickled jalapenos, just without the spice.
The texture that the Doritos add isn't just a novelty. It actually really works for the potato because sometimes when you get baked potatoes, when you get cheese and then you get the protein, it seems like there's a lack of texture, and you definitely get that texture added back in with the Doritos on top of this. It's a nice touch.
More commonly filled with gravy or baked beans, a jacket potato is just an English term for baked potatoes, with the name coming from the vegetable being cooked in its skin, or, you guessed it, its jacket.
So we have their Chef Special, and then we have their West Panini. The Chef Special, I believe, has pickles, tomatoes, cheese, and salami. The other one has pepperoni, salami, cheese, pickles, a bunch of other stuff. As I go through it, I'll let you guys know. It looks amazing. I can't wait to see how it tastes. So the flavor on this is amazing. If a hot dog and a really good sandwich got together, this is what it would be. You get kind of the salted meat aspect, you get the texture from charring those salted meats. Again, the pickle adds a nice brightness to it, and then everything just kind of gets mellowed out with the cheese. A nice loaf of bread too. There's a good chew and texture there. It's a really nice sandwich. The melted cheese inside of there is definitely hitting the spot. It's really nice.
Co-owners Ahmet and Garay are setting out to expand American food culture in Westwood, New Jersey with a fun new take on English and Turkish street food with their new restaurant, Jack Potatoes.
Next up, I'm gonna move on to their Chef Special and see how that stacks up against the one that I just had. One thing that I've noticed is that these sandwiches are not skimped out on at all. They're filled to the brim, which is awesome because you're definitely getting your money's worth. This one is very refreshing. You wouldn't think that it would be a fun ingredient or an ingredient that plays well in a sandwich, but the peas add a really nice pop of texture in there and a little bit of sweetness, and it works really well within the sandwich. Okay, now that I'm about halfway done, you guys know the deal. Like, share, and subscribe. If you're new here, follow the page, turn on the notifications so that you can stay up to date with what we have going on in future videos. If you enjoy the content, smash that like button. Share this video around so that we can put some eyes onto the page. If you're not already following us on Instagram, head over there and give us a follow so that you guys can see some of that more exclusive content and special reviews that we do during the week. Now, let's get into these burgers. So there's a chili, there's a barbecue, and then there's an original. I think I'm gonna do the original first and then work my way around. It's very nice. You get a nice blend of spices in there. And then the tomato sauce obviously works well with something like beef. It kind of gives you a really good meatloaf vibe in the best possible way.
Wet burgers, or Islak burgers as they're more commonly known, are a late night favorite in Istanbul's Taksim Square. Moistened with a specially seasoned tomato-based sauce, these sit somewhere between a hamburger and a tender meatloaf.
So I'm going to move on to the next burger. I believe that this is the barbecue one. I'll know as soon as I bite into it whether or not it's the chili or the barbecue. I asked for these two with cheese. The one is white American and then the other is cheddar. So this is definitely the chili because I could actually see the seeds. Sometimes when you get something like chili, it can be a little overwhelming. I like spicy, so this doesn't bother me, but go knowing into it that it's not overwhelmingly spicy. It's a really nice heat, and it's hard to strike that balance sometimes between what's not enough and what's too much, especially when it comes to something that's subjective like spicy, but this is the right amount of heat. Plus, when you have it with the cheese, it kind of helps mellow things out a little bit.
Out of the 3 burgers that I had, I think I definitely enjoyed the spicy one the most.
Last, but certainly not least, is the BBQ Wet Burger. I went with cheddar on this just because it's a classic pairing, barbecue and cheddar. I'll let you guys get a closer look. Solid barbecue cheddar burger. It's interesting when you have the sauce on top of something as opposed to inside of it. Even though the nature of the ingredients are the same, you get the taste of the barbecue sauce on your palate first before you go through the the bun and then the cheese and then the beef. And it's nice. It kind of makes it so that the star is really the tang of the barbecue sauce, and then you just kind of get the umami and that beef flavor afterwards. I managed to save room for dessert, and I noticed that they had a Nutella banana panini on the menu. There was no way that I wasn't getting this. If you don't know already, I'm a huge fan of Nutella, whether or not it's with bananas, with strawberries, in cream, out of the jar. I just really love hazelnut spread. So I'm really curious to see how this stacks up to everything else that I've already had. Everything else has already been delicious, so I don't think that this will be anything different. I've never actually had it on something like a sandwich, like panini or something like that, but the texture actually works. So the way that you would think maybe with bread pudding, how it gives a certain texture, a certain toothiness. When you have Nutella and then you have banana, it's soft with soft, so you need something to balance out the texture, and the bread does a very nice job of doing that. Plus, it's like when you came home after school and your mom made you like a PB&J or a Nutella sandwich, it's very much like that.
Now that you know what a wet burger is and a jacket potato, don't be afraid to try it the next time you see it on a menu, especially if you're near Jack Potatoes in Westwood, New Jersey. Thanks for watching, guys. Now stick around for the final review.
So I think the star of the show, besides all of the food, was, for me, I really, really enjoyed how the textures played well with the flavors of the food. It's one of those things that I think sometimes as consumers that we get scared to kind of go outside of our comfort zone with certain foods, and we're not sure what will or won't taste good. And the only way you'll know is to just try. So when I had the Jack's Mexican potato, the way that cheese and then the potatoes and then kind of like Mexican seasonings play well with like the slight tang and the dill flavor from a pickle, it was absolutely amazing. And then the sandwiches were crazy good. The way that the peas and then the carrots worked with the creaminess from the mayonnaise, and then the texture from the bread, and then the saltiness of the meats, and then the textures that you got from the slight char on the outside of them. It was delicious. I can't say enough good things about it. You guys really just need to come here and try it. Thanks again to everybody at Jack's Potatoes for the amazing food, the great customer service, the awesome experience. Like, share, and subscribe. And remember, if you are what you eat, always eat amazing.